Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Yana and I'm here to help you sound more natural in English. But before we start, a quick reminder. 90% of you watching aren't subscribed. So if you're enjoying these lessons, hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. Now, let's get into it. Nostalgia. When I was a child, I used to spend my summers at my grandmother's house. She would tell me bedtime stories every night. But one summer, something unforgettable happened. But we'll get back to that later. Watch until the end to find out. Now let's discuss used to. This is a great way to talk about things we did repeatedly in the past or states that were true but are no longer the case. We can use it instead of the past simple to emphasize repeated actions or long-term situations. For example, I used to play outside for hours when I was a child. This is a repeated action. She used to live in Paris before moving to London. This is a long-term state. But look at the following sentence. This sentence is wrong. Use past simple instead. I visited my grandma yesterday because it was a specific incident and not a repeated action. We can also use would when describing nostalgic memories or repeated activities in the past. Every summer, we would go camping in the mountains. My dad would always wake up early and make breakfast for us. Now, here is a sentence that is wrong. Have a closer look at it. In this particular one, you need to use used to, because to have expresses a state. So the correct variant is I used to have a dog when I was younger. Let's move on to the so-called narrative tenses. Past simple is used for the main events in the story. For example, I arrived at my grandmother's house and unpacked my things. Past continuous is used for background actions that set the scene and actions in progress in the past. For example, this happened when I was about 5 years old. My father had gone away on business for a few days and my sister and I were sleeping in my parents' bedroom. Before we went to bed that night, I'd been reading a very scary story. In the middle of the night, I woke up with a start and saw that a figure in a dark coat was standing in the doorway. Past perfect is used for events that happen before the main story began. By the time I arrived, my grandmother had already prepared dinner. So first, my grandma prepared dinner, and then I arrived. You made it this far, bravo! And now it's time to finish the story I started earlier, remember? When I was a kid, I used to spend my summers at my grandmother's house. She would bake cookies every morning and we would sit in the garden listening to her old stories. One evening, while we were sitting outside, we heard a strange noise coming from the attic. I'd never heard anything like it before. My grandmother went upstairs to check and I followed her nervously. When we opened the attic door, a bird flew out and startled us. It had been trapped inside all day. My grandmother laughed, gave me a cookie, and said, "That's a story for another summer." And now, let's tackle something that confuses a lot of English learners. Be used to and get used to. They might look alike, but trust me, they're not twins. Be used to means you are already familiar with something and it's normal for you. we use it with a noun or a verb in the ing form. For example, I live in a big city, so I'm used to the noise. She's used to waking up early. Have a look at the common mistakes now. The correct variant here is I'm used to waking up early because it's your habit in the present. It's not something that you used to do in the past and don't do anymore, right? Get used to describes the process of becoming familiar with something. It wasn't normal before, but now it's getting easier. We use it with a noun or a verb in the ing form. I just moved to Canada and I'm still getting used to the cold weather. At first, waking up at 5 a.m. was hard, but I got used to it after a few weeks. Here is a common mistake. The first variant is wrong. The correct one is I'm getting used to living alone. You need to put get used to in the present continuous tense because it's happening at this period of time. And now here's a little bonus for you, because why stop at just used to and would when we can make our past storytelling even more dramatic? We use always plus past continuous to talk about annoying, repeated actions in the past. It's like used to, but with extra frustration. For example, when I was a teenager, my little brother was always borrowing my clothes. So annoying. She was always losing her keys when we lived together. Seriously, every single day. Think of this as your rant mode for past habits. If something happened again and again and it drove you crazy, this is the tense for you. So next time you want to complain about an old roommate, a childhood friend, or maybe even an ex, always plus past continuous is your best friend. All right, we've covered everything. Used to, be used to, get used to, and even would for past habits. But now it's time to see if it all really sank in. Let's test your skills with a quick quiz. Fill in the blanks before I reveal the answers. Ready? Let's go. Sentence number 1. When I was younger, my summers in the countryside, but now I prefer the city. Take a moment to think about it. The answer is used to spend. We use used to for past habits that no longer happen. Sentence 2. Every night my grandfather blank me bedtime stories. So take your time to think about the answer. The correct answer is would tell or used to tell. Would and used to both work for repeated past actions. Would sounds a bit more nostalgic. Sentence number 3. I just started a new job and I'm still early. Take a minute to think about it. The answer is getting used to waking up. Get used to describes the process of becoming familiar with something new. Sentence 4. I live near a train station, so I noise all the time. The answer is am used to hearing. Be used to means something is normal for you now. We use a noun or ing form after it. Sentence 5. I moved to Spain last year and now I Spanish fluently. The answer is have gotten used to speaking. The present perfect shows that this process of adaptation is now complete. All right, you made it to the end. Congrats! You're officially one step closer to sounding like a native. But before you run off to binge watch cat videos, let's talk about what's next. If you like this lesson, you're gonna love my video on conditionals because let's be real, if you want to master English, then you need to get those right. Or maybe you're in the mood for some colorful expressions. Check out 25 English idioms about feelings and emotions, because saying I'm sad is just too basic when you can say I'm down in the dumps. And if you're aiming for success, who isn't? My video on 20 English idioms about success will have you hitting the jackpot in no time. That's it for today. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Seriously, what are you waiting for? Stay awesome, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!